Good morning folks, it's Ash from Being SWENGLISH and it's a lovely warm summer's morning in Sweden. Today I'm actually off to the airport and a number of you have been wondering about travel within Sweden, in fact from any airport given the current scenario globally, which is a bit of a mess. Well, I'm actually travelling to Germany today. I'm flying from Copenhagen, which of course is just over the bridge from the south of Sweden, and my friends travelled from there yesterday. They said luckily there was just no major issues through security or through baggage, but the big issues were once you were in the airport, where the shops and the restaurants were absolutely manic. So later in this video I will be showing you what it's like and I'll give you my report after I get through all of that fuss. But in the meantime I'm flying with Lufthansa. I was told not to fly with SAS because apparently SAS are cancelling flights all over the place, sadly. The airline sounds like it's in quite a bit of distress, and whilst not booking with them certainly doesn't help their financial situation, I need to get where I've got to go. And if I risk booking with them, I risk the flight being cancelled. So I'm actually flying with Lufthansa, although I was very surprised to see that you need to still wear a mask. What? So even though almost every single airline has now binned the need to wear a mask, Lufthansa insist on it for the entire duration of the flight. I mean, it's lucky it's only an hour and a half's flight, because we did that when we went to Cyprus, 4 hours with a mask on and in the airport. Throughout the whole process it was really suffocating and quite unpleasant, to be honest. And just a quick added note as well, I am British living in Sweden, and whenever I travel now through airports I always bring my ID card. It's my residency card known as Uppehållstillstånd. Uppehållstillstånd. I should know how to pronounce this by now, but bring it with you because the passport control people can be quite funny if you haven't got it. Sometimes they'll stamp your passport, which means that if you stay in Sweden for a certain amount of time then you might be in trouble. So always bring that card with you. If you don't yet have the card, at least bring the letter that proves that you've got permanent residency or permission to stay in Sweden. Anyway, let's go and see what it's like getting to the airport and then getting through security. Public transport in Sweden really is quite hit and miss. You tend to find quite often trains are cancelled or broken down, buses aren't running, and sometimes they'll get you all off the train that's broken down and put you all on a bus instead, which can really mess up your travel plans. So many Swedes will say, oh, public transport in Sweden is a dream, it's perfect. But it's really not. It does depend on what part of Sweden you live in, of course, but certainly in the south, Skånetrafiken can be quite unreliable, unfortunately. But luckily, the bus today is on time. Pretty much all the trains here, at least in the south of Sweden, are electric, as well as the buses as well, so they're so quiet, no horrible fumes and stink. Although with the price of electric right now, I'd imagine ticket prices might end up going up. Whenever on the train, I always notice this little place called Harup, which is just south of Lund, near a place called Staffanstorp. These houses look so Viking, even though they were built in 1990. About 4,000 people live there, really cute little place. So finally now in Malmö, I'm just waiting for a train to jump onto to get to Denmark. Also waiting, you might be wondering how much public transport like this actually costs in Sweden. Well, I've just taken a train that took half an hour from Helsingborg down to Malmö. That train costs 50 krona, which is about £4. To get to Denmark costs about 200 krona, which is about £16, which is not bad across a bridge from Sweden into Denmark, and that covers the trains and the buses. Anyway, here's my train to the end. Once you're on the train over to Denmark, you get a treat on the Øresund Bridge, from which you can see the sea between Denmark and Sweden, as well as the stunning Turning Torso, which is a gigantic residential tower in Malmö. Finally off the train and at the airport, so now a lot of people here, looking quite busy. And we'll see how it looks inside. Inside it's a pretty bustling airport, lots of people here, but not as packed as just after the kind of pandemic started to calm down a bit. It's certainly better than it was, but having to do a lot of people avoiding here to try and actually make progress. Lots of people stood around looking confused as usual, not knowing where to go. Security not looking too bad at all. Much better than I thought. It shouldn't take too long, I don't think. And that's it, just like that, through security in about 5 minutes. It's actually not too busy inside either. It's just coincidence I'm in the alcohol section, by the way. But yeah, it seems relatively quiet here. It is a Wednesday morning, it's about 10 o'clock. But yeah, doesn't look like this will be too painful after all. But it's just so typical that the only shop I actually want to go in is closed. The Lego shop. Damn. You know you're getting old when things that you had as a kid are now in a museum. As usual, these shops are all quite empty. Not really because of COVID, but just because everything's too expensive for anybody to actually afford. Especially me. But yeah, I'm really impressed at how empty the airport actually is. So in summary, travelling, I think if you choose your right moment and you don't go at times which is clearly going to be packed, then actually it'll be fine. It's more a case of not travelling during peak hours or travelling at times when the kids are off school or on holidays, which they actually are now in Sweden. So I'm really surprised, unless it's because everyone's already gone, perhaps. Who knows? Anyway, comment below if you've been travelling recently. What's your experience been like? Which airport did you travel from, and was it crazy or was it fairly peaceful like it is here? Hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed this content. Thanks for watching.